Hi everyone, welcome to DIY Ideas. Today I'll show you how you can upcycle basic, ordinary, boring shirts and make them new and interesting in a couple of really easy steps. So today I'll show you 3 different ideas. The first one might be a little bit more complicated than the other 2, so this video is going to have 2 parts. The first one with the first idea and the second part with the other 2. So today we are going to be learning how to do applications on our t-shirts. My first idea is this one. So out of a basic shirt, I made really interesting twists. So you see here on the bottom, I switched out the bottom fabric. This is kind of a transparent silky fabric, a bit lighter. And then here is the application I was telling you about. So I'll show you a really simple way to do any application on your clothing. So this is just an option how to do them, and you can do whichever version you want. So we will need our t-shirt that we want to upcycle. It's best if it's in just one color. I have a regular white one. It can be out of some stretchy fabric or out of cotton, of course. Then we need some pins, an iron, your fabric scissors, and the fabric for your application. And I'll explain this later. Some thinner, if possible, transparent fabric, silk, or something like that even. And then, of course, some application foil. So let's start with the application. So I'm doing my own shape. So make sure that you take a piece of fabric that won't fray because it makes everything a lot easier. And this fabric would definitely fray and it would make this whole process super difficult. But you can fix that with non-fraying stitches on the bottom to make it non-fraying like this here. So a stitch can fix that, or you simply take leather, faux leather, cork fabric, whatever that won't fray. And before you cut it out, you need your application foil. So use this to iron over the application to make it stick. On its one side, it has the safety layer. So this is the actual application foil. So I hope you can see this. And you see that it's pretty much like double-sided tape, so almost the same thing. Anyway, we will first just put our foil on top and then align everything and just iron over it. Make sure that you don't have paper on top, because if you put your iron over the sticky part, it will definitely stick to your iron and we don't want that. Okay, so just iron over this, over the paper, and then you can turn and cut your exact planned shape out. And I recommend that you do this ironing over slowly. I prefer to do it in sections so that it holds better and neater later. Okay, I'll cut this out and pull the safety paper off, and then we will iron over the background fabric directly, but I'll show you that step when we get to it. My shirt is white as well as my writing, so I found this leftover piece of fabric that I think looks really nice. I think it'll look really pretty together, so I'm gonna iron over the edges as well so that it looks neat in the end when I put it all together. So I ironed my foil on top of this, and you can see that I can pull it off now from the corner. Okay, so here is the foil. I hope you can see it, but you will definitely feel it with your finger. Okay, now just cut out your shape or pattern or whatever you like or want to have. So you can do a star or a flower or some letter, but if you haven't had a whole lot of experience with applications, I'll warn you that this is a bit more complicated, the shape that I'm doing. If you would, of course, compare it to something simpler, like a regular circle or something like that. The foil is definitely a big helper for beginners, so I definitely recommend trying it out this way first. I'll cut the letters out and then I'll show you how we continue with the other side of it. Okay, here I am. So it did take a while, but I wanted it to be super neat and without mistakes. So if you don't have a whole lot of experience, you should take a bit simpler shape, and then when you're a little bit more confident with it, you can do letters and other a bit more complicated applications. So we can now pull our safety paper off. And you can definitely feel where the sticky part is. So after we pulled it off, we can adjust its position and then take a towel or something and iron over it so that the glue gets warm and sticky and transfers itself onto the background. Then, when you do that, you take your edges here and you iron over them folded so that they are nice and neat, or you can iron directly over your application. And now you can go around this with your sewing machine one more time just to make sure it's really gonna stay on here. After you did that, you can now do the edges. So in my case, it's gonna fray, so I'll fold the edges like this inwards. And then I'll just iron over it before I sew this onto my t-shirt. Okay, now we can stitch this up. Again, if you're new to this, you can use the sticky foil with the whole big piece so that it's glued onto your t-shirt too, but that's of course optional. And then do a stitch around the edges. Make sure you're doing just one side and not both, because otherwise you won't be able to wear your t-shirt anymore. So just make sure that it's nice and aligned so that you get nice results in the end, straight without any wrinkles going on, and do a stitch around all edges then. And the application is now done, but if you remember, we have another step in our upcycling plan, so I want to crop it. So I'll just cut it a bit shorter than it is, and then I'll connect a half transparent thinner fabric on here. You can do all kinds of fabric, so pretty much whatever you like or have. In my case, I have a skirt that I did in this fabric, and I want to wear this t-shirt with that skirt, and the silky transparent fabric should kind of fall over a part of the skirt. You can put the t-shirt on and mark where you want to cut, so mark where you want it to be, and then make sure you cut it out neatly. So you want everything to be really, really flat so that it's not crooked later. Okay, now you can measure the width of your piece. I have 45 centimeters, so now I'll take 2 pieces out of my new fabric. That's 2 times 45 centimeters wide, and the length is completely up to you. So I'll do 50 centimeters. You can do it longer and then later cut it off if you don't like it, but length is definitely up to your own preference. So 2 times the 45 centimeters, and then you can connect the 2 width sides to get the shape that you want. I'll show you now what I mean. Here are the two pieces that I have, 45 centimeters wide, and now I'm putting both pretty side on pretty side. And now I'll close these sides up, same on the other side, to close the sides or connect them. So just along the side. And now that you did this, you can take your shirt and fold this a bit inwards so you can iron over it so that it's nice and neat, about 1 centimeter. And then take your other fabric and push it inwards and stitch it up, but I'll show you that when we get there. So for now, we just want to fold this inwards a bit. Then we want to iron over it or pin it if you prefer that, and then we will stitch that. Okay, so here now we want the two fabrics pinned together. So here is where we are going to do our stitches and what it will look like on the outside. Now that you did this stitch, you should have something like this, and in my case I tried it on and marked how long I want to have it. So I did it pretty generously so that I can decide now what I want to do. You can also start from the top and let the two sides kind of just flow down or actually stay separated on the sides so that the front and the back are not together, so like a little crack. So in that case, you would want to just fix the edges and seam them to prevent fraying so that it's a nice and neat result in the end. Okay, if not, you can then just cut along your mark and then fold once or twice inwards and then fix the edge too. Okay, here is my stitch on the bottom, and now I can finally present you my result, and this is it. So I hope you guys like the way the whole thing looks. So you see here the transparent fabric and here a really cool DIY application. So yours can of course be completely different depending on what fabrics you're using, what materials, what applications, which is what makes this project so great. Applications are easy to do, so you just need some leftover fabric that you can upcycle, that you can definitely use for your application or for your bottom section. So depending on which type of fabric you have and what you plan on doing with it. But I think it's a really great idea to also use leftovers and not throw them away. So it's kind of recycle, upcycle this time. Yeah, so in my case, I'm matching my skirt with this background of the application so that might be something you want to do. So do different types or multiple clothing pieces that you can match with applications and just kind of make them look like a set. So yeah, you just need the foil and that's pretty much it. Okay guys, so this was part 1 and stay tuned for part 2, then I'll show you 2 different ideas. So if you did enjoy this project, feel free to shoot us a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel by clicking on the subscribe button. That way you'll always stay updated with everything new that we post. So I hope you enjoyed. I hope to see you in one of our future projects, so stay tuned for that. And until then, I wish you a wonderful day. Thanks for watching DIY Ideas. Bye!